This is topic 2.2 on alcohols, carboxylic acids, and esters. It says alcohols are a group of organic molecules that have a hydroxyl functional group attached to a hydrocarbon. Hydroxyl functional group is an OH, and oftentimes you will see it written as ROH, where R represents your hydrocarbon. So if you don't remember any of that stuff, well, your data booklet shows you the general formula, ROH. And here's an example of one where we've got our C's and then we've got an O and another H on the end. So whenever you see that O connected to your carbon chain, you should know that that is a alcohol. And by O, I mean a single bonded O, because if you look down here, all of these ones also have O's. Okay, so single bonded O on the end of the molecule will tell you that it's an alcohol. So this is showing you an example of it, like I just did on the thing, but that O is your functional group. So that's the group that we're looking for when we're looking at alcohols. So how we name alcohols, well, first we've got to find the hydroxyl functional group, which is the OH, and then circle it. Determine the parent chain, so numbering to place the hydroxyl group on the lowest number, and then name the parent chain as we did before. Change the ending to OL to indicate that it's an alcohol. All right, so let's try some of those out. So this one is our first step, like it said on the other, is to circle our functional group. That's our OH. So we know it's an alcohol. Next, I like to always figure out how long our parent chain is. Our parent chain is all of the carbons, and we've got one here, which means that it is a one carbon chain. And just like before, we can go to here, look at what a one carbon is. It's a meth. So meth is where we're going to start. So meth is the prefix that we're going to use. Really, there's only single bonds in this, so it is a methane, I guess you could say. And then we're going to change that ending. So that methane is going to lose the E and add an OL. This OL is going to tell us that it is has this functional group, which is the OH. So that would become methanol. We don't have to say where the O is because there's only one carbon, so it can only go on the number one. Okay. This one, similar. The only difference is that, well, we've got that, but we've also got a 2 carbon chain. So we know it's an alcohol. We got to write down what our 2 carbon chain is. If we go back to our other data booklet, a 2 carbon chain is ethane. It's ethane because there's only single bonds there on the parent chain. And then we need to change that ending to reflect an alcohol. So it becomes ethanol. You guys may have heard of ethanol before, and methanol as well. So ethanol, we again don't need to write the number, because if you look at this, if we numbered it 1, 2, it would be on the 1. If we numbered it 1, 2, well, it would be on the 2. We always want the lowest number. So regardless of which way we name it, it's going to be on the first carbon, so we don't need to put the number. Okay, so that's literally just ethanol. This one, a little bit confusing how it's drawn. But let's see what we can figure out from this. We can see this right here makes it an alcohol, and then we've got to figure out our parent chain, which we can see as being 3. If we go back to our data booklet over here, we see that 3 carbons is a propane. There's only single bonds on our carbons, so we can write propane. Because it's an alcohol, we take off that ending and we add OL, so it becomes propanol. Then we've got to say where that alcohol is. And that alcohol is on the, I'm going to guess, it's a little bit messed up in the way that it's written, but it's going to be on the middle carbon. So this is connected to this carbon. It's just the lines are a little bit off. So if that is the case, then we need to, again, write in the front of this 2 with a dash, because that's telling us it's on the second carbon. Regardless of which way we go, it's still going to be on the number 2 carbon. Okay, so that becomes 2-propanol. All right. I'm just going to circle that. All right. At the bottom here, it says it wants us to draw the following, which is propan 1-diol. Well, like I've told you before, they used to write them this way. We don't write like that anymore. We would write 1-dipropanol. Okay, so if we have 1-dipropanol, how we would write that is, or how we would write it out in drawings would be, we'd first draw our propane symbols. So 1, 2, 3, that's a propane. We know it's an alcohol. It says the OH is on the number 1, and there's 2 of them. So if I was going to draw it like this, this is what 1-dipropanol would look like. The di is telling us that there's not only 1, but there's 2 OH groups. So remember that di tells us 2. So we're just sort of putting all of the pieces that we've done so far together. Now I guess that leads us to some questions that you've got to do. I'm not sure why it's broken off here, but 18 to 20 something in your practice problems. So you'll see this when you are in your booklet. And I will stop there.